Okay, welcome to Pointed Questions Live. Thank you for coming out and being witness to this is the first time we've ever done a live version of this podcast, but
I think it's the first time anyone's ever done a live podcast of any podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the first live
podcast.
This is the first live. This is actually like the first live show of all time.
Right.
Actually.
This is number one.
First live show. So this is a milestone in not just podcasting, but in life. It's a milestone in life. It's a life milestone. But anyway, so okay. Well, look. By the way, we'll assume that I've already recorded the intro. I know it's weird that this is like live streaming too, but I already
did an intro.
It did an intro and
for
explained what's going on. You're already established as here.
I'm an established
But you're an
person.
established person, and so I guess we'll just get right into it with our guest. So, James.
Well, should we do a quick establishment
About
for
what?
the people here?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. You're right. Okay. So for the people who are here, our guest today is an English teacher in high school English teacher. His name is James, and we're just going to ask him questions about his job and his experience with that job. Yeah. And my name is Brent Weinbach.
My name is Andrew Michon.
This is Andrew Michon, and this is James.
Hey, Brett. Andrew.
Actually, give him a round of applause while we're
Round of applause
at
for
it.
James.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It means a lot.
So, how long have you been teaching for?
Let's see. So, I guess this is my 7th year teaching. And,
Have you always been at the same school?
no, spread around. So, like, technically I'm a middle school right now, but it's
Oh, you're in
kinda-
a middle school team.
Well, it's kind of like they blend into each other.
Oh, okay. So it's
And then I was a full-out high school before that, too.
It's 8 through 12.
Yeah.
And before that, you were where?
High school.
High
like
school,
a junior, senior, that sort of stuff.
How do you like the mix? Do you like? Are your students a range of ages as well that span that?
Yeah, 7th and 8th grade. So
Oh.
I covered just those two.
Oh,
but
you only do 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm sorry. It goes through 7th through 12, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Oh, is that everything all right there? Okay. Should we redo anything? No? Okay. So I'm sorry. So it's 7th through 12, and you only do 7th and 8th right now.
But you used to do high school.
Yeah, and I previously taught just straight high school as well. So,
And so what's your favorite grade?
probably the grade I'm in now,
Which is 7th?
7th and 8th grade. Yeah,
What do you like even more, 7th or 8th?
probably not 8th, but 7th grade.
Oh, how come?
I think that like brains start sort of like changing around 8th grade.
Yeah.
For the worst.
For the worse, absolutely. Yeah,
Huh.
it doesn't really get better.
So does it just get worse all the way up until 12th grade?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow.
But it's just like different degrees of worse and like in different directions for the most part.
So do you mean their brains become more manly at 8?
Yeah,
And then at 8th grade, that is?
Yeah,
And
super manly. Like,
and
yeah.
They're not, but they're more childlike in 7th grade, and you like that more, maybe. They're more innocent, at least.
Yeah, they're more innocent.
Like
yeah.
their priorities change.
Their priorities definitely change when they hit 8th grade.
Okay, so what are some of the things they value at 8th grade as opposed to 7th grade?
Mostly just like fucking mostly. But, I mean, they don't actually like achieve any of that, but it's just
That's
like
what they
constantly on the brain. So.
Wow.
What is your what do you find it easier to discipline 7th graders over 8th graders?
Oh yeah, because like when you're in 7th grade, they come in, they still view you with like some kind of authority, and you can still do the like the mental jujitsu around them. They're just not smart enough. Honestly, is what it boils down to.
Oh, and so you like that they're not as developed.
Yeah, because you just have this added advantage in that you can like maneuver around complicated situations a lot more easily otherwise.
And what about the high schoolers, the 9 through 12?
Oh, they'll challenge you on things, right?
So they're more challenging,
Oh,
even
yeah.
more than the 8th
Oh, yeah,
graders.
yeah.
So they just get more and more challenging.
They do, but like
or do they mellow out at a certain point?
They mellow out like a junior senior because like previously I taught junior senior, and they definitely like calm down at a certain point in time, and like when they reach that point in time, they just kind of want to get out, and so they just do what they need to do to get out. So
have you seen? Did you ever have a student who was a 9th grader and saw them grow into a 12th grader?
No, because
you switched around.
Because I switched schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have some like students who are in college and that sort of thing now. But it's
Do you
not
keep
like
in
I
touch with
watch
students?
them go through. Yeah, they'll come back and visit, things like that. That'll
So you're
happen.
friendly with some of the students.
Yeah,
There's no taboo of becoming friends with students or
No,
former
not
students.
afterwards. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
After they. Is there a taboo at school of teachers becoming friends with students while they're still their student?
Yeah, because I mean, you want to keep that like boundary
Right.
up at all points in time. I
Do
would
some
say.
teachers not keep that boundary?
I mean, like it's great for some people, I would say, but I mean, you try to, for the most part. Some kids don't really like understand that though. So I remember one kid said that we were friends. He was going around saying like, "Hey, we're friends, right?" And I
About
told
you?
him, yeah, and I said like, "No, we're not friends. I'm your teacher," and like that really pissed him off. And that was like the last time he talked to me. So that
Whoa.
was, well, it's like.
How old? What's grade was he in?
He was junior.
Why did he think you guys were friends?
I think he just thought that we were friendly because I'm not really like a particularly strict guy or anything like that.
Right,
So it
laid
was one of
back.
those things where
Do you think
he just assumed we were.
But did you
relaxed.
act any differently towards him than you did to any other student?
No.
Yeah.
Did he have a lot of friends?
No.
You were kind of number one for him.
Yeah, it's one of
Whoa,
those.
he
sort
was
of
the only.
things.
You were his only friend.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
sad.
That's sad
So when
thing.
you told him, how did you do that? How did you tell him? Let's say Andrew's he's the student, okay?
Mhm.
And how do
James,
you,
I just want to let you know I love that we're friends.
Yeah, we're not friends, but
No, but we talk and you're nice to me and stuff.
yeah, but we're not friends. I'm your teacher. You can't be friends with your teacher, man. But Chris, high five.
okay, hold on a second. So cut what? So did he cry at all when you told him that?
No, he said, I see. I was like, oh, I see. I see how it is, man.
Wow.
And there was
wow.
like the nod and the shake.
Wait,
it was a down nod, slight side to side shake, and then it was just silence.
What kind of
for-
style did he have?
He had a big beanie and a shirt, like a corn shirt.
Corn.
He was a
Corn?
corn type.
Yeah, he was one of those
corn
guys.
type.
So
yeah.
he was a beanie corn
He
type.
was a children of the corn.
He is children of the corn, but I mean, this
Yeah.
was like what in 2010. So I mean, like it was way after.
He was late.
It was late to the
So
party.
did you
Right.
still have? Was he still a student of yours after that?
Just for a short period of time. This was like towards the end.
And it was a little
he was
weird.
so he was a senior.
He was eighth, so he was a 11th grader.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't have him.
And
in my
what was his
classes.
full name?
So you had heard that he was going around telling people that you guys were friends.
Yeah, and he brought it up to me just sort of like passingly. And like
Oh, he
it's-
said, "Hey, I think it's cool, Mr. James, how we're
he said,
friends."
Yeah, we're friends, man. We're homies.
And I like that. I like that about a relationship. That's what he said.
He didn't go say I like that about our relationship.
Right.
In so many words.
Wow.
And
in,
so
in
then
a
you
corn,
said-
in a corn kind
In
of
a corn
style.
kind
He
of-
said it in like a corn
Fewer
way.
syllables, more loud and kind of angry. But yeah.
So did you? And then so
Wow.
when you said, "Hey," like I mean, okay, did you do it just like you did it to Andrew, or were you a little more, a little like nicer about it, or what?
I feel like I was a lot nicer.
Oh,
So
okay.
what? I mean, how?
I'm like revising this in my mind. In
Yeah.
my mind, I was very, very,
Right.
very like fatherly and stern, but it was probably kind of like timid and crackly.
Huh.
And
Yeah, but I'm not
and
sure.
and did it seem like he was going to cry or anything?
I didn't see any tears,
Mhm.
so
Wow.
Yeah.
you know.
Was that hard for you to do?
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
That's sad.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm glad that we're starting on this really.
No,
No,
I
I
think
think
you
this is
gotta do it.
interesting. This is interesting.
You
It's
gotta do
interesting.
it. You
This
gotta
is
keep that
interesting.
separation.
Yep.
It's a lesson.
So do you like to do you feel like you are an influence on the students? I mean, obviously you're influencing them as far as their education goes, but do you think of yourself as a role model?
No, I'm not a role model.
You don't think any of the students look up to you in any way? Or
Well, they might in some regard, but I wouldn't regard myself as a role model.
has anyone ever said so? Or that
Has anyone
they ever
said,
said,
like-
"Mr. James, I want to be like you"?
No one's ever said that to me.
Uh-huh.
But I'm looking forward to that happening someday.
Do you like the idea of inspiring students? I mean, obviously that's probably. I mean, not to make it sound corny or anything, but do you
Like-
like the idea of? I mean, is that why you're doing this? Is to inspire students, or are you there really just to help educate them?
Yeah, I would say that the inspiration part is like central to what any teacher does.
Have you
Because
ever-
You're
yeah.
not going to be a teacher if you don't like enjoy it, and if you don't get some sort of gratitude in helping people.
Have you ever broken through to someone who seemed like they were going down the wrong track,
Or Yeah, I would say so.
What was an example of that?
So, the first high school I worked at was really low economics, like low income. And a lot of the students that I got the chance to work with were previous dropouts, or like they were there for, at the behest of their parole officer or something along those lines. So, when you work with those kids consistently, you get a chance to kind of help them, like, basically recarve out sections of their life so that they can like move forward.
Do you
and, like,
remember
drop the past?
Do you recall any moments, any turning points for a student that you were involved with?
I mean, I've never had that like great big, like what is that?
Stand and deliver moment.
Stand and deliver moment. No one's ever like stood in their desk and like read poetry to me.
Or Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, Dead Poets Society
Or
stuff.
like corn lyrics or something.
Yeah, I mean like corn lyrics maybe. But no, I've never had that moment. But again, like I wouldn't expect a kid to do that. I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't have done that when I was in high school.
Has a student ever opened up to you more than you probably would have wanted them to, or more than you were used to?
Do you mean like what do you mean by that?
Just really told you things about their shared maybe too much.
Yeah, I would say so.
And how do you respond to that?
Well, if a student's willing to open up to you, you listen, right? And that's the most important thing that any student really probably wants from their teacher, is just to like hear what is said to them. It's to have someone listen to them. I mean, like that's probably the most important thing as a teacher, is just treat students like people, treat them with respect, and like listen to what they actually have to say and validate those opinions, provided they're not like totally insane.
How do you deal with troublemakers in class?
I just ask them to make a decision. I mean, you give people options, and they take whichever option is in their best interest.
Well, what are the choices they get?
Like continue to do what you are doing, or do the right thing, I guess. Or like you give them the option of like, you're going to leave the classroom and go to the principal or whatever, or you're going to come back here and reset and do the work. But I don't want to make it like punitive.
Do you ever yell at them?
I don't really yell. I don't like
Not
yelling.
at all?
Not
You
really.
take a stern tone, though.
Sometimes I can get to a general stern tone.
Can you
but
give me an example of what it'd be like if you were at your sternest?
It would be really cringeworthy to try. Yeah, it doesn't work in adults. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. Yeah,
It's weird. It's
yeah.
just it's
You
like
say there was a kid right there and he just made a fake fart noise. What would you do? Or maybe it was a real fart noise.
Well, you can't discriminate against that. I mean, it just
Like,
happens. They
Oh,
try-
do you do that? Are you the kind of teacher who's cool with farts?
Well, a fart's a fart, man. I can't.
Okay,
I can't
hold on.
amend it if
How
it's
can
a
you not be
fart.
cool with it?
Well, okay, so say a student farts and he makes a purpose of, he angles his cheeks in such a way that it makes the fart even louder than it needed to be. And do you say, you didn't need to make it that loud?
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't say you didn't need to make it that loud. I think we would all know. I mean, that's a pretty impressive feat. I would probably go and like tap the kid on the shoulder and just say like, "Hey, man, I'll talk to you over there." And after everyone else like calms
But what if you
down,
tap him and it kind of pushes more out?
then that kid's got some like weird bodily things going on, because that's not
Yeah, I
normal,
guess
man.
so.
That's just not.
Do you, but
something that
are you,
happens.
okay, so has anyone, I know this seems silly, but has anyone ever passed gas in class and it smelled really bad that you mentioned it while you were teaching?
Oh yeah, that comes up pretty consistently.
It does.
Well, you were
What do you
literally,
say?
you were
What do you
literally
say?
You were working in a group of like 7th and 8th graders. I mean, like they smell like constantly, whether it's the
Right.
farting or just the general
So
smell.
you bring up the smells sometimes?
yeah.
So even non-fart smells?
Well, yeah.
So
What
like
do
just
you-
body odor smells?
Yeah.
So what do you say? Do you say, somebody didn't wear deodorant today, what's up?
You say you stink. You should go handle that.
You say that?
In front of the
Yeah.
class?
Yeah.
Do
I
people
mean, like,
laugh?
usually more
Do
private.
people laugh?
Yeah, they'll laugh.
Do you get laughs a lot when you teach?
I get some laughs. I get a few laughs.
Do you actively try to go for laughs in class?
Not actively.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just sort of like, the
But-
situation creates some like.
You
nice
seem like a no
moments.
bullshit kind of teacher a little bit.
I like to keep it pretty straightforward.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
mean, like I'm not like a strict guy, but
Right.
there's stuff we gotta get done. As long as we get that
Right.
done, it doesn't really matter.
So what are some other smells that you've smelled in class besides fart smells?
Mostly body odor, or like I smell a lot of like chips mixed with things. Everything smells like chips in middle school. I don't know.
What flavors?
It's mostly the spicy stuff, like
Cheetos.
Spicy Cheetos.
Yeah, spicy Cheetos, or like what are those other
Flamin'
ones?
Hot.
The Takis.
Takis.
Are
Oh,
disgusting.
Takis.
Do
Yeah.
kids come in to class with red fingers and stuff?
Pretty
Yeah.
consistently, yeah.
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 What do
Yeah.
you like that?
No, I don't like that.
I mean, yeah.
There's
So
no
what-
eating in class, right?
No, you
course
don't want
not.
eating.
You don't want
close,
eating.
Yeah.
No gum.
No gum.
What's the most lenient thing you've ever done in your class? What's the most, oh, Mr. James is a cool teacher thing you've done?
There's been a few situations where like we just like walked outside to play kickball for an hour.
Oh.
That was probably the nicest thing I've
Oh,
ever done.
wait,
for a kid.
why did you do that?
Just because like it was at the end of all this testing, and it was just like there was no point in continuing on beyond
cool.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Do you give your students 5?
like a high five.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give them a high five. That's about as far as like any kind of like I don't know, physical contact goes.
Yeah.
You're like the hugs come and you kind of
Right.
have to like.
So
put your
you
hands above
avoid
your head.
hugs?
Yeah, I hate hugs anyway.
Huh.
I mean, that's
Sure.
just all people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kids, other people.
Right, you don't like hugs in general.
Yeah, straight up.
What if you
No.
But
go in
what do they say? What do they do what do you do when you see a hug coming?
I put the hand up like that.
Really?
I go like this. Yeah.
Wow. And what do they say? What do they say? How do they react?
Say, Mr. James, that's kind of weird. But it's like, when you're a male teacher in any kind of environment, it's like that's just like rule number 1. Like, you
Right.
don't put your. You don't
Wait, hold
touch-
on. Do female teachers hug?
Some of them will, yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Seems strange, man. Strange.
What if you
Yeah.
were going in for a high five and then you spotted some taki dust on the end of their fingers? What do you say?
I would just pull that
You
back.
pull
Just
back.
pull back.
Okay,
Yeah.
just kind of abort.
This is not an emotional safe space. This is more about like I
Right.
don't want to get talky dust.
I mean,
Right,
have you
right.
ever thought about the alternative of you see the talkie dust and they're going in for the 5 and then you just go other hand.
No,
You switch it up.
No.
You leave.
I'm not that polished about it. I'd rather just like, you know what, child, you're making a poor decision. It's going to impact.
Have you
me.
ever told a student to wash their hands?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And a grown, I mean, an elder student, kind of, high school age.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Your hands are dirty. You should go wash them. I mean, I've
No
got
bullshit.
I've got hand sanitizer in my classroom. I mean, like,
Oh.
Are you a
good.
pretty clean person in general?
yeah.
I mean, are you kind of are you germ conscious?
I'm a little germ conscious.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
you hear the stories, right? Like, like the bed bug stories and that sort of stuff.
But from high school?
Yeah, it happens.
I haven't heard
sometimes.
about
I'm
that.
sorry.
That makes
You get
sense.
bed bugs. You can get bed bugs from high school students.
Well, I mean, like people can bring them in.
Right, it makes
To
sense.
the
Think
classroom.
about
Yeah,
it.
because it comes in that.
You got
clothes
carpets
and
there at that
yeah,
school?
you gotta
Yeah.
be careful about that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's going around these days.
The bed bugs.
Yeah.
The bed bugs are going around these days. Yeah.
No, but in high schools.
Well, I mean, just anywhere, any
It's a big,
school.
I mean, that's a congregation of people.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
people.
carpets.
Uh huh.
You got bugs.
Well,
Free education.
And do you feel like you don't? Did you used to get sick a lot? And now you don't, or what?
yeah. So that's like one of the major
Huh.
benefits of like working in
Interesting.
schools is just like your immune system feels like it's just been jerry-rigged to withstand like some pretty powerful,
Wow.
like some pretty powerful diseases. I feel like.
That's cool.
Do students ever try to talk to you about young stuff, and you do relate to it? I'm talking video games and movies and stuff.
I would say that's one of the advantages I have teaching is that I'm
Oh,
not
right.
old enough to have forgotten what it was like to be like, 16, 17, 18, which is
Right.
nice. But like what's sort of strange about it is you start to see how the things that you liked and like the music you listen to are so painfully out of date because something that you master as like a little as a year ago, like in terms of like their pop culture knowledge,
Right.
is just like dead on arrival for the next year.
Right.
So like you're really just it's a constant battle that
So
you're
are you
never
like
gonna-
in class like saying things are on fleek like right now and
I
stuff?
try to avoid that.
And they're like, oh, that's kind of last year.
Yeah, I said it once and
Did you really?
I got some derisive looks.
Yeah, I mean,
It was like,
that was
yeah.
a phrase that was popular for like literally a week. And
Yeah.
then it was immediately uncool.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So it's better to just sort of like try
Try
right
not
above
to.
the fray, but
Right,
like, yeah.
right.
Yeah, all the teachers are just like walking time capsules.
That's
it's really
funny.
embarrassing.
That's
So
funny.
do you what's the most have you ever been has a student ever done something really embarrassing in class, and how did you react to it, and then did you laugh about it when you were in the teacher's lounge later?
So one time I had a kid. This is before I was a teacher. I was like I was an aide, but I was still like like an assistant teacher in the
Yeah.
classroom. There's a kid that would consistently like piss his pants to get out of class, and he would always
on
do
purpose?
it. Yeah, like whenever the test came around. So when we would have like a standardized test, it'd be like I go to the bathroom, and you would call on him to go, and he would always just happen to piss his
How old
pants.
is the student?
This was a I believe he was a 6th grader.
So, like
7th
on the
grader.
walk to the bathroom, he'd be pissing his
Oh, dude,
pants.
it was in the classroom.
In the class, he would
It
just
was
be
straight
covered.
up just. I mean, it was like a thing where he would just try and get out of stuff.
Was
but
he, would he
Wow.
wear shorts usually when this happened, or he would have pants?
I think that it was a range of different clothes.
So
but
he would do this with shorts on sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
What would your
shorts.
response be?
You know, it's one of those things where you have to just treat it as professional as you can, because I mean,
Right.
like, you can't tell a kid that you did that on purpose necessarily,
Right,
because
but then it's a pattern.
He's going to a pretty drastic measure to make sure
Yeah.
that he doesn't have to take that test.
Wow.
So what would the how would the teacher handle that kid?
It's one of those things where you pick up the kid, you send him to the nurse to change, that sort of stuff. But I mean, like, the test is kind of invalidated at that point in time.
So did he get bad grades?
Suffice to say,
After the
Yeah,
after the
that's too
second or
bad.
third time of doing this, did you guys just require that he wear a diaper in class,
No,
especially on test day?
There was no diaper mandates placed on the child, unfortunately. I think parents were kind of opposed to that.
That's sad.
Can I
Did you
ask you a
have a
question?
meeting with the parents about it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it comes up.
That's
That stuff comes
sad.
up all the time.
Can I ask you this? Have you ever been frustrated with a student who was being defiant to the point where you wanted to spank him or something?
I've never wanted to
I
spank.
mean, spank him is
kid.
but have you ever wanted to? Have you ever gotten really upset with a student that you kind of wish there was a paddle involved?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that I've always there's been like situations where I've felt that, but I would never like act on that. You
Well,
know,
of
right,
course,
right.
yeah.
It's actually, you know, Arizona has like some sort of like long lost mandate that allows for like corporal punishment.
Really?
Yeah, like you could pull out a paddle
What?
if you got approval from like every administrator and like
Wow.
parents.
Whoa,
It's on the
really?
books.
Yeah, it's like technically like some backlog law.
So you've had fantasies of paddling.
No, well,
I mean, not in any sexual way, but I mean in a way that you were frustration.
In a way
know,
that you were like looking up the laws and
as
trying
the-
to figure
yeah,
out. if
you know,
could do
I
it.
just really, you know, I really have a lot of like paddling fantasies when it comes to like, you know, outdated Arizona laws. I guess, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds about right.
Has being a teacher made you more or less interested in having kids?
You know, that's the one thing, right? Is like, I feel like I still like all the kids.
Okay.
Like, you know, I know that like teachers kind of get that stigma where it's like, oh yeah, this is a bad kid, this is a bad kid. It's like, truth of the matter is like, even like the most difficult kids you have, like you really do like them.
Right, right.
So I would say it was probably increased my
Okay.
the likelihood that I would.
Have you ever lost your cool in front of class?
What, like,
And by
the-
lost your cool, I mean, you know, you were having trouble with a kid, and he pushed the wrong button with you, and you said some things, or you lost control yourself, and maybe said something, like you handled things the wrong way or something.
I feel like every teacher does that at some point in time, and if they don't, then they're probably either not remembering it correctly or they're lying about
So
it.
what was an example of when you lost control?
You
or
know,
lost-
there's
or-
just some kids, like, this is early on in my career, I feel like there were some kids that were just, like, specifically defiant because they felt like you were just, like, kind of, like, lording your authority over them, and then, you know, they're done with that, basically. So I had a kid who just, like, refused to work, just, like, shook his head kind of, you know, derisively, after I kept asking him over and over again to, like, just get this one thing done. And, you know, I kicked him out of the room. He didn't leave the room. He just sort of like, you know, leaned back in the chair. Like, I don't know if he wanted
just
to
out of
fight
curiosity,
or
what was his
but,
style?
He had backwards hat. He had
Yeah.
a Miami Heat jersey.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, you know, you can infer
Yeah.
what you will from, like, I guess those two things.
Yeah, no, that makes
You
sense.
know.
Yeah.
And, like, he was not having it. So I didn't, like, freak out on him or anything like that. But I remember, like I definitely told him, like afterwards, I guess the failure on my part was like giving in a little bit.
So you let him just stay there.
Yeah,
at
well,
one
I mean,
point.
like, because
he wasn't doing anything.
I'm not going to physically move the kid,
Right.
Right.
But
And
could, can you call
I could
someone
have
from
called
office?
somebody, but it was
Yeah.
almost at the end of the period at
Yeah.
the time, and it was just like it
Also-
probably would have just been making a scene. But at the same time, it's like you can't really like be inconsistent about that. Sort
But
of
it's tough because if you call someone, it makes you look like you're not an authority figure to them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It makes
absolutely.
you look bad.
It's
'cause
a lot-
like you're
No,
like, oh, I
I
can't
mean,
handle this kid.
Maybe not necessarily though. I mean, maybe
Well-
it's just like students know that he can't physically do anything. So it's, hey, I'm gonna call
So
somebody.
this was a
who-
long time ago.
This is a long time. This is,
So
like,
do
really
you
early
do
in the
you
career.
think early in your career that some students could kind of like sniff out that you were new, and they kind of like took advantage of that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't look like the oldest guy. And so
Right,
when I
right.
first started working, I mean, I was, like I said, I was working with these, like, kind of impoverished kids
Right,
who were
right.
there with probation officers and requirements. So, like, I'm walking into a classroom as, like, a 4-year-old,
Right,
and they're
right.
like 20. I don't look that different from them. I
Yeah.
mean, half the time they're just like, really? Like, this
Yes.
guy's not going to tell me what to do.
Right. Huh.
So, have you ever said any bad words in class on accident,
So,
or on purpose?
not really, no.
You
I
never said
mean,
the F word,
No, I've never said the F word in class.
SH word though.
Never said the SH word.
What about the B word?
Never said the B word.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Clean
that's
record.
not true. Like in terms of like literature, like sometimes you read a book and it's got some like
It's
bad
got
words
bad
in
words in it.
Yeah,
Well, right. That's the
gotta get
that's the loophole. When
Yeah, you
it
gotta
comes,
keep it,
especially when it comes to literature and stuff. Yeah.
keep it authentic, you know.
What do you? What's your curriculum like? What are you teaching these 7th and 8th graders right now?
You know, you learn a lot of like the classics, I would say. But you know, like so we read a lot of like the older novels. You guys probably read like the
Catcher
Lord
in
of
the
the
Rye.
Flies and that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
I
Yep.
remember.
All those types of guys. And then, you know, the way that standards work these days, there's a lot of like informational texts and those sorts of things. It takes the fun right out of it.
Is there anything that you want to teach or read in class and the school won't allow you to do that? Like stuff that's maybe outdated, because there was stuff about like Mark Twain stuff, right? Don't they want to ban that or something like that? Or?
Yeah, it's a good point. I'd have to think about that one. There's a lot of classic books I think would be really good. Like even Catcher the Rye is hard to like swing in a classroom these days. It's
Really?
not a banned book. Yeah.
The schools have problems with that now.
Well, there's a lot of them that are on the banned books list. You have to just
Really?
sort of like walk on eggshells depending on what you're going to provide.
Is
for
Catcher in
kids.
the Rye a book that you really want kids to read in 9th grade or whatever?
I think it'd be a good one for some of those, for like high school students, just because it's a lot about like, you know, self-expression.
So do you-
have? Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, do you pick your curriculum? Like, is there like a list of books that you're allowed to choose from, and you create what you want, or is it a bit more free? Is it a bit more up to you, or
You
how
base
does that work?
You base it off of what's available in the in the curriculum.
And
Or
that's
sorry,
like
or sorry, in the like libraries and that sort of stuff.
Is that like state by state? Is that different? Or-
So yeah, it's state standards, but it's really just like what schools have available to them at any point in time.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe talk just a little closer to
Sure,
the mic.
sure.
Is that right, Mike? Aaron? Oh, it doesn't matter? He's good where he is? Okay, you're good where you are.
All
Sorry.
right,
Yeah.
cool.
So is Catcher in the Rye a book that you like to teach, right?
A book like
and
that.
you have taught. I mean,
Yeah,
or
I
you-
actually
or
I
you've-
have not taught that book.
Really?
Because I've never had like access to it. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
really?
Because of the band thing?
It's not available in a lot of libraries, and like it's
Wow.
been banned by some schools, but you know that's just school by school, realistically
Right.
speaking. I mean, you can go to like some conservative schools in like the South, and you're gonna find like Harry Potter banned or something. Like
Right.
that. So it's just based off of whatever the district.
Do people
band
teach
is.
Harry Potter in schools?
I've never seen someone teach Harry Potter,
Have-
but I'm
ha-
sure someone
has
does.
a student
Huh.
ever expressed to you that they really connected or got inspired by a piece of literature?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, what was an example of that?
So, like, it's more like I've recommended certain books to them, and they've found those books
really?
to be kind of like inspiring in some ways.
That kid with the corn outfit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he read what was it? Yeah, he read Little Women.
Is that true? The
No,
corn
he
kid?
didn't.
Okay. What was a book that really hit home with somebody?
Let's see. I remember prescribing Perks of Being a Wallflower to a kid. Really appreciated
Oh,
that
right.
because it was all about like
like an
loneliness
awkward
and
kid,
being an
yeah,
awkward
yeah,
kid,
yeah.
and she really took that one.
That's cool.
to
She
heart.
blossomed from that.
I don't know if she blossomed from it, but she seemed to really enjoy it, and she said that it was like a connecting moment.
That's cool.
So that's cool.
nice.
Are
Yeah.
you really passionate about English literature?
Yeah, I mean, like I studied literature. That's how I got into teaching. in the
Sure,
first
sure.
place.
Yeah.
Did you know you wanted to be a teacher, or did that kind of just
No,
happen?
sort of fell into it.
What's your favorite period?
Of literature?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
okay.
kind of shifted a lot because I mean, like back in like when I was in college, I used to like all the new stuff. I really
Right.
liked all the postmodernist stuff.
Yeah.
But like these days, new stuff it doesn't quite carry as much as some of the classics do. So I still really like a lot of the modernist stuff, I would say.
So that's your kind of focus.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I'm-
for you personally. Yeah.
And I really like all the realistic works. Like a lot of the Hemingway is really great.
A lot of
stuff.
English people, by English people I mean people who are study English in college and stuff. Shakespeare is always their sort of go-to. That's
Yeah,
their
it's-
favorite.
it's
Is
their
that the
go-to
same
move.
case for you, or
No, I wouldn't say it's
you
my
don't connect to
go-to
that?
move on any. I wouldn't say it's a go-to, but I mean, like,
Do you
I'll
think
instruct some
Shakespeare
of
is
it.
overrated?
I wouldn't say he's overrated. It's just like it's one of those things where the guy developed so many interesting ideas over a period of time, and he's the father of so many great ideas, provided he existed, which I think he did, that you have to look at it in order to appreciate anything that's being done now.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily love what it was or anything like that.
He didn't perfect those ideas, maybe.
No,
he
but
created them.
you appreciate where
Yeah,
it came from.
yeah.
Has a
See its
student
roots.
ever had a boner in class before?
I'm sure that they have, but I have
I
never
mean, no,
tried
but
to like
no,
really.
but no, like you never asked somebody to write something on a chalkboard, and then the kid said, "No, I can't come up," and they said, "No, come on, just come up," and then he did come up, and it was just pretty
It's
clear.
really never happened.
That's never
I
happened.
mean, maybe I'm just not observant of that sort of
Right,
thing.
right. You're not looking for it,
I'm not
obviously.
looking for
I guess
boners,
I'm asking if there was a thing where you couldn't help but notice because it was just so obvious.
I've never had like an unnoticeable like a boner that just just too much.
Yeah, okay.
right?
'Cause Brent-
it didn't just like break the class. No,
Because
it's
Brent's
never
looking for boners. He's wondering like if they're around in schools and
know.
stuff. You know.
You got to
Did
find a right place to find them. You know.
What's your favorite period in school?
What do you mean period in school?
Well, he said, "What's your favorite period of literature?" So I'm saying like,
Yeah,
1
what's your
through
favorite
6,
period?
yeah,
1 through 6 or 7,
whatever,
yeah.
whatever it
or
is. in
zero,
school.
0 through 7.
oh, it's
yeah.
probably like third period. 'cause
Third period.
It's break.
Break.
Yeah, it's break. Yeah.
Oh, there is
Wait.
no third period.
Oh, you mean that's your free
That's
period?
my pre-period.
Oh, that's
yeah,
your free
but
period.
okay, like
but to
so-
teach
but
though.
wait, okay, say you didn't have a free period. What's your
Okay.
favorite period?
It's definitely early in the day. Later in
Earlier.
the day is terrible.
Oh, really? I
Really?
just want to get out of there.
Oh,
But what
yeah.
about sixth period though? That's kind of nice,
The
right?
sixth period's terrible too.
Oh,
Sixth is
really?
not
They're
period.
just,
you're
they're just looking at
but
the clock, huh? They're just staring at the clock.
Well, it's like when you get to the end of the day, they're at the end of the day. There's people.
Do you
Right.
ever look at the clock too, thinking I can't wait to get out of this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Out of
Really?
this mess.
It is what it is. I mean, like I feel like, I think that's like it's a work study
Right.
that's been done, right? Everyone gets most of their best work done before lunch. That sort
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
It's how.
It's also funny that it
teachers
seems like
are.
the same thing happens too. Like hearing about what students you like working with the most. It seems like 7th grade is the ones you like the most, which is like an earlier period. And then you said 12th grade, they're kind of the worst. And it's kind of like the same thing through the day. It's mirrored through the years. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I would say so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kinda like trying to get out of there.
It's when you're about to like leave for anything, whether it's in a day or like after 4 years. of
Right,
school,
right.
It's like
You're excited, yeah.
We're done. We're all done.
So
I remember
Let's
that.
move on.
So the teachers' lounge. Talk about it.
The teachers' lounge. It's a real sad place for the most part.
Huh.
It either goes one of two ways. It either sort of like falls apart into just like banter and that sort of stuff,
Gossip.
or it turns into just like the most rancid like bitch fests you could
Really?
imagine. Yeah,
About the
people
students or
complain.
about the principal and stuff? Or
Nah, like just anything. It's just, but that's reasonable of any workplace.
oh, like
right?
the
Right.
district and stuff.
Could be anything.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter what it is. People just complain.
Is there ever any drama between the teachers?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not you don't get involved with that.
I
though.
actually I see it in my room, man. It's
You just-
easier.
you
Oh,
just do
you
your own thing.
do you let students eat in your room?
Yeah, sometimes,
Uh-huh.
but not often.
Like the wallflowers?
Yeah, little wallflowers get in the room once in a
Yeah.
while. That's
So you have hung out with the teachers during lunch and stuff.
Sure,
though.
sure.
Do you make friends with those teachers or no?
I mean, sort of. Yeah, they're coworkers, right?
Are there? You find that it's hard to connect to the other teachers because maybe there's different ages and stuff, or
I mean, like it's just like any workplace. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just find certain people that are your same age.
do you have any good friends that are from work?
Yeah, I say so. Yeah.
Do you become friends with the other faculty?
Yeah, absolutely. You mean like the maintenance guys and those sorts
Sure.
of things? Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You
You got to
can-
be nice to those guys. Honestly, like the librarians are like the second most powerful people in the school.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's like a
Why?
weird power structure.
Who's the most powerful? The principal?
Principal's most
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah,
AP
why-
is
why-
number 2, and then but librarians by far.
I'm sorry. Who's number 2?
the assistant principal?
Or vice principal? or
Yeah,
something? And are there more than one vice principals?
There's usually just one.
Uh huh. And why is the librarian so powerful?
As he or she holds the keys to like whether you get anything in the school.
So they're
What
in
do you mean,
charge with the books that you get for your
Yeah,
class.
exactly. Books, technology, it's all checked out through the librarian. So
Wow.
the librarian holds quite a few.
Does your school have like iPads and stuff?
We've got some like not advanced technology. We've got some like Chromebooks, smart books, those sorts of things.
Okay.
Do you ever do anything extra nice for the librarian or the principal in order to help
Oh yeah.
get things that you need for your class and
Oh
stuff?
yeah. People suck up. That's what you gotta do. Yeah.
Really? So
Oh,
you do
yeah.
that? You suck up?
Oh yeah.
What do you do to suck
I'll
up?
bring the librarian like a Christmas card and things like that. Little gift here or there.
Uh-huh.
Compliments, those sorts of things.
Really?
Yeah.
And it works?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maintenance
Okay.
guy too. My classroom gets taken care of. because-
Wow.
No
well, actually,
squeaky
So
chairs?
do you think that some teachers who don't do this kind of stuff, they don't get taken care of the same way?
I think that you have to make sure that you're taking care of the right people to be taken care of. Yeah.
Wow, you're
that's
greasing
kinda-
the right wheels.
That's just sort of how it goes. right?
Wow. So are some teachers' classrooms filthy because the maintenance guy is not really,
They're low on the priority list.
or they have like lights that are out and stuff like
yeah,
that?
they're low on the priority list.
Wow.
No one's getting to them immediately.
When did you realize that? Oh, this is the way to do it. You got.
When I was low on the priority list, when nothing was
Oh,
getting
Really?
really? You had a
Okay.
dirty room?
yeah, a dirty room and nothing was getting fixed.
That's
Wow.
I
funny.
make friends.
So what
and then
clicked? What did you think? Were you like thinking? How did you realize? Okay, maybe I need to start.
You just start going to the people that you need help with, and then you notice if you're nicer to them and offer them things, they eventually start to come around to you
That's
and help
funny.
you out. A
Does the
little bit.
principal ever power trip?
Nah. Our principal, she's a really nice lady. She's pretty like.
Have you ever had a weird principal?
Yeah, I've had a weird principal before. I had a principal who was like kind of a game fanatic, like
Really?
just
How
Video
old?
games or board games?
like video games.
Oh, okay.
How old
But
was
like,
this person?
He's probably in his like late 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, and he would just like go home and drink himself stupid and play video games every day.
Really?
Yeah, so we would like this is back like the first job I had. You would like call the guy to like open up the school, and he would just be like
Really? He was.
skunk drunk, just playing
Really?
Wow.
playing World of Warcraft.
What happened to him? Did he
Wow.
get fired?
No,
No.
it was like a charter, so no.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did he like talk to students about video games and stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did he
Wow.
play games with students?
No, well, I don't know, maybe online or something, but I don't
Really?
think
That's
so.
crazy.
Are you allowed to have online, like relationships with students?
You prob-
for
you're
the
not-
purposes of helping them outside of school, kind of a thing.
Only if it's like through like formal channels, like if you've
Mm-hmm.
got like a forum or something that like it can be monitored by
Do
the
you have a Facebook?
district. I have Facebook. Yes.
But do your kids try to add you, or do you have a
Yeah,
private name?
but
do you have
it's-
do you have a Facebook fan page which is for the students only?
I use just fake things for everything.
fake
Yeah.
names? And
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, are there? Have you ever? You said there is gossip between teachers, right?
Sure, man.
Do they ever gossip about the students?
Oh yeah.
Did you hear what happened to Richie or whatever? You
Oh,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
They care about the students.
Their
kinda
gossip?
They care about that stuff, like
I-
the students' dramas.
Yeah, that stuff's interesting, man.
You
Yeah.
like it too.
Oh, it's interesting stuff because I mean, like we've all been there,
Right.
So it's just like they're just kind of coming into their own in that regard.
Yeah, and you know these kids, but in a different context than what the gossip is about.
Exactly
and stuff.
right.
Do you go to the dances?
I mean, like we monitor them, yeah.
I mean, you go there just chaperone and stuff or whatever,
sure,
you know.
Of course.
So, do some teachers and yourself included, do they feel like they're reliving the past kind of when they get to go to the dances, or do they look at it as a social opportunity as well?
In the sense that like they're terrible, like
No. I mean, is it?
Sorry, all my experiences at dances were just terrible. So I
Oh,
mean,
really?
like, I still regard them as terrible. So maybe, yeah, in that regard, I'm absolutely reliving the same nightmare over and over
Uh-huh.
again. Yeah.
I mean, I guess do some teachers get excited about the dances more, not for the students, but for themselves, and they kind of like the idea of kind of getting dressed up maybe and maybe socializing.
I've never seen a teacher get excited for a dance because it's mostly just work.
Yeah, it's just like another shift.
Yeah, it's like I gotta stay late for this prom.
Anything weird ever happen at a dance?
I mean, like, there's a lot of like bathroom duty stuff where it's like you're pulling kids out of the bathroom and that kind of stuff.
Because
but
they're
it's
drunk or something?
Yeah, they're stoned or drunk or
Wait,
you know, if
are
they're-
people doing naughty things in the bathroom?
Not surprising, I know, but that's how it goes.
Huh.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it's surprising, but it
Oh,
is
they
what it
do?
is. Yeah, you have to. That's why. That's the job of the.
That's
of
the job.
monitors.
You're like
that's
a-
the job.
What about
Yeah.
what are they doing in the bathroom during I mean, are people using the bathroom to go to the bathroom, or are they using it for other things during school, regular school?
I mean,
hours?
I'm sure they're using it for all sorts of different purposes.
It's
but-
not really your job
No,
anyway.
I'm in the classroom. I don't
yeah.
know what they're doing all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Have
do
you
have
ever?
do you have your own bathroom? Teacher's bathroom?
There's tons of teachers' bathrooms.
That's
yeah.
nice.
Have you ever suspended a kid from your class? Or is that? Are you allowed to do that? I mean,
I mean, like, I'm not allowed to do that. I can recommend it, and then like they go through a process where it determines whether they get suspended or not. Yeah.
But how often are you sending kids to the principal's office?
I don't send them very often at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't send them.
have you ever yelled?
Mm,
Like really kind of screamed at a kid?
yeah, but not like. Not crazy. I mean, like I've raised my voice, right? I mean,
Right.
but I haven't really like lost it. Like I said, the worst it's ever been is like basically giving in to the kid as opposed
Right.
to like freaking out on the kid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, when you watch like high school coming of age movies and TV shows and stuff right now, Do you like them more now that you're a high school teacher, or less, or is there any? Do you connect with those films in a certain way?
It's funny because they're so inaccurate.
Oh, really?
Like across the board.
Is there
Oh,
any
really?
accurate ones?
No, not that I've seen.
Not a single one?
Well, I mean, like they're dramatized and they
Right,
have
right.
the thing that's like kind of funny about like any kind of like coming
What
of
about
age
what about the
comedy-
class of 1999?
I don't
No,
know.
I was kidding. But yeah,
No,
it's
like,
very unrealistic. Yeah.
Most of the time, like when you see those things, they have like real narrative clarity. It's like this
Right.
is the ending, and people have grown to
Right.
a point where they've like emotionally stepped up a level. But like
Much messier.
yeah, real life is
Yeah.
just gross
Okay,
and messy.
are there
Yeah,
any
yeah.
teachers that come to the school and they want to be Edward James Olmos, or they want to be Michelle Pfeiffer?
I don't think they want to be.
No, I mean,
Michelle.
does anyone kind of go in there with these unrealistic, movie expectations?
Oh, like I'm
of-
going to change the world?
Yeah, kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
that happens. The new guys, and that's one of the reasons that like
The new guys are like that.
yeah, new people
Uh-huh.
come in, they want to do all these like life changing things. And it's
Yeah.
like that's
Right.
noble. It's a noble thing.
and
But unrealistic.
It's that passion's important, right?
Right. It's important to have it. Right.
But like, I mean, realistically speaking, it's not like a grand gesture type thing. It's kind of in between the two.
Have you had many kids where you really were trying to, I don't know, change their life or make them, stop making mistakes, and then you couldn't, and they just kind of kept going down a bad path?
Yeah, you work on everybody as best you can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best you can do, right?
Yeah.
So like, you give a kid all the time you've got, and
Right.
you give them everything you've got, but there's still people. and
have
they
you ever
make
had to
mistakes.
visit their home?
No,
You've never done that.
no. It's kind of like we have
Have you ever
counselors who do that.
Has any student ever tried to mess with you in a violent way, or
You mean like play tricks on me or like?
or vandalize your stuff, or either your
Ah.
classroom or your car maybe or something?
No, nothing to that extent. I mean like simple vandalism, but not in the sense that like it's my stuff.
They
You
like
know,
write on the
have you ever
table or
been-
Yeah, they
something.
draw that stupid S everywhere. That
Oh,
sort of
really?
thing.
Like
You know,
they
it's
still-
the pointy
The
S.
Superman S
I
thing?
don't know
It's
what.
not Superman. It's that S. Yeah,
I've
I know what
seen
you
it.
mean.
It's kind of like crack to kids. I don't know. They can't stay away from it.
Have you ever caught someone passing notes in class?
Sure.
And have you ever read them?
Yeah, sometimes I'll read them out loud.
Out loud?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the
What's the
anything juicy?
juiciest?
Any juicy?
If it's
Something
too juicy,
juicy.
you just put it away.
Oh, really?
Really? You don't go for it?
No.
No, I mean
man.
obviously
Well,
you can't.
sometimes it's like it's too juicy.
You save it for later.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
You
Do you ever like take these juicy notes and then bring them back home, or share them with the teachers and say, look what this person wrote,
Yeah. I mean, if it's like a big deal, I'll take it to like the counselor or something like that. But I mean, like,
what's a big deal?
like if it's like something like graphically sexual or something.
Oh,
like
really?
That. Yeah. Then it's like that's gotta.
What,
probably
okay,
gotta
just
get
I mean,
avoided.
just for the sake of interest here, what was an example of something that was graphically something that was explicit like that?
Like the first year I started working, there was like some pretty egregious like blowjob solicitations and things like
Like
that.
asking for one?
Yeah, stuff like that.
a boy asking a girl, or
Yeah.
vice-
Was it a
or
girl
what?
who would have given a blowjob, or do you think it was like just kind of sexual harassment style?
I don't think it was sexual harassment.
Okay, you think
but
it was
I don't-
flirting.
I think so,
Huh.
but I don't know.
Interesting.
It's hard to say.
And what's an example of one you would read in front of class?
The ones that are pretty like inane for the most part. What are you doing after lunch today? Oh my God, this is so boring. That kind of stuff is pretty. That stuff's easy to read in
When
front of class.
when students are whispering to each other something and you're lecturing,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever stop and say, "What are you guys talking about?"
Yeah,
What do they say?
nothing.
Do you ever force people to answer questions when they don't want to answer?
Yeah, that's the game.
That's the
That's
game.
the whole game.
Like what?
Well, I mean, like,
It-
no
well,
one they don't want to always answer.
Well, how
so,
okay? Like, what percentage of the class generally wants to raise their hand? Usually for
like
stuff,
maybe a quarter,
a quarter.
less than a quarter.
And
yeah,
you
15%.
purposely try to ask students who aren't raising their hand on stuff.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because you kind of have to.
Right.
Are there any kids who are super nervous in class?
Oh yeah.
And what's up with that? How do you deal with that?
I don't know. You just let them.
Do you think it's funny?
It's kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, you help them. Right?
Do you ever laugh about stuff in private? Like, do you ever make fun of kids sometimes when you're outside of the
like
classroom?
in public or in private?
In private, when you're
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
You
like
do?
not in a way that's like horrible, but
Mhm.
I mean, like just realistic. Sometimes kids.
Do you ever
stupid
make fun of
things.
kids in public?
Yeah,
in front
but
of-
like not in ways that I hope are like destroying them like emotionally and crippling them for the future. Like I would try to
Just silly kind of.
silly kind of thing.
They're laughing with you.
has
kinda.
a,
Yeah.
has a student ever thrown up in class?
in the trash can. But
How-
not like,
Why did that happen?
I don't know, just got sick. But usually if they say like, I need to go to the bathroom to throw up, you just let them go to the bathroom.
But it did happen before.
Yeah, they threw up in a trash can one
Did
time.
that gross you out?
It was pretty gross.
Did other kids get grossed out?
Yeah, I think they were pretty gross.
Did anyone else want to throw up because of that?
Oh, they didn't like trigger some sort of like, comical
Domino?
effect,
Yeah.
but I guess it could have.
How many students are in your class?
It's about 33 kids.
Okay.
Is that a lot or
That's
not
kind
as
of a lot,
average?
yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
What
That's
would you
in
prefer?
like a classroom that you're teaching, 33 kids.
Yeah,
sitting
give
down.
or take 33.
What would you
kids.
prefer?
Like 27 or something like that's probably pretty good.
Is it a
number,
big
20.
public high school you're at?
It's public, yeah.
Huh.
Do you ever play sports with any of the students?
We'll shoot baskets with them sometimes.
You do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question. It's a bit. So, okay.
Real quick, where are we? Real quick, just out of curiosity on time. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I'm liking this, but
I'm liking this.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay.
I just have a question. So, okay. So I think, on the internet these days, and I think we've all read a lot of articles in the news and stuff about like woke identity politics stuff kind of being a big part of college campuses.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that that's the case at all with high school, or does that not really matter, or even middle school?
Identity politics with regards to what? Can you be a little more specific?
Just like people, like, let's see.
Are you talking about? Are there any like transgender students at your school?
Oh, yeah,
Are you
it's-
asking
no,
that?
No, I'm not asking that. I mean like a strong
wanna ask
concern.
that?
I mean a strong concern about like being PC or like saying things that might offend someone. Like there's just a lot of like is that a conversation that's being had? I guess that is my question.
Yeah, so it doesn't come across necessarily as this it doesn't come across like as that conversation.
Okay.
Right? It comes across in the like some people will not be comfortable with other people like making jokes or like
Right.
using incorrect whatever like pronouns and those
Right,
sorts
right,
of things.
right.
And then some will call them out on it.
Right.
And then it creates the controversy of like where's the line between allowing someone to say something a little bit risque or like
Totally.
expressing themselves as opposed to like respecting someone else's like rights and that sort of
Have
stuff.
you ever
Right.
been accused of saying something inappropriate in class?
Not like super inappropriate. I mean like, and no one has ever gotten angry at me for using incorrect.
Where the administration or like the principal had to talk to you for some reason?
No, not really. No.
Right.
No.
Do other teachers get in trouble?
Sometimes, yeah.
Why? What do they do?
Well, it's more just like, like if a parent gets involved and like feels that a student was not treated appropriately, something along those lines, and the principal will have them come in and discuss that with them, because you have to address the concern of the parent, valid or not valid. You have to double check that.
Right.
Have teachers ever fought with each other in school?
Like physically
Physically.
fought.
Yeah.
Never seen a physical teacher fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, still a lot of time left. I'm hoping.
Have you
Fingers
seen?
crossed.
Have you seen? Has there been verbal fights?
Yeah.
They're yelling at each other.
Like quietly, and I've seen like there was one where like a lady had to get a restraining order against some guy.
Another teacher?
Yeah, but I was like, it had nothing to do like on campus. That it was more like
Did they? Oh,
They both
really?
went to the same school.
Yeah, then one had to move. The gentleman had to move.
Was he like
afterwards.
stalking her or something?
I
Or
didn't
you don't even know?
understand exactly what was going on. I got the
Weird.
feeling that like, because they used to be like kind of friendly, so I think something happened.
Yeah, or maybe
You
he
know.
wanted to take it a step further.
Yeah, I don't know, but that
Interesting.
happened. But I mean, they had classes that were like next to each other, so eventually it was like, well, someone's got to move.
Are there
Wow.
romances that happen in the school?
Oh yeah,
I'm between teachers.
yeah, that happens. Yeah, you
Oh, it
see a lot
does?
of teachers that are doing that sort of thing. I mean, a lot of the people that start working at schools, I mean, they show up and they just start working, like right out of college.
Yeah,
right?
and there's no
Yeah.
preparation. I mean, like, what's the preparation for going into a high school, or is it just like you all of a sudden are a teacher? Like, how much? You know what I mean? Like, you
Well,
didn't study.
You work as an aide a little bit, right?
I worked as an aide, but like
Oh,
you
some
definitely
don't.
get some kids who are some teachers who they'll go through the 4-year program, and their 4th year they usually spend like half that in a classroom where they just get to observe and like kind of sub in lessons and those sorts.
Have you ever seen any teacher-student relationships ever happen?
Oh, you mean like types you read about in the news?
Yeah.
No, I've never seen that. I mean, like, you hear these stories like from other places, but I've never seen anything like that.
This is kind of a dark question, but have you ever heard a male teacher, or actually it could be male or female, talk about a student say an older student, so it's not as dark of a question. Say like a 17, 18-year-old student. Have you ever heard them talk about that student in a sort of suggestive way or whatever?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Like I've never had another teacher come to me and like drop that.
Yeah,
like,
and
a
say-
little nugget and walk away.
Yeah, it's like, did you see Brian?
Yeah,
He's looking good.
It was never nothing. That's never happened.
Brian
you know?
looking. Have you seen? Did you see Brian today?
Yeah.
That tank top was just.
Can't
like,
stop
I'm
seeing
thinking,
Brian.
I'm saying stop seeing Brian right now. Brian's looking swole today. Is Brian? Do you go to games?
Yeah, I go to games.
Do you have school pride?
I mean, I try to have school. You gotta have some.
Did you have? Do you have more school pride now than you did when you were a student?
There's no doubt that I do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had no school pride when I was.
Were
young.
you a
Wow.
bad student as a student?
I was a decent student.
Did you
but
ever
I
get in trouble or
I was
anything?
not too much, but I was kind of one of those students that just sort of like coasted by for the most
So
part.
when you finished high school, if someone told you then, like, dude, you're gonna be back in high school a bunch later, you'd be like, no way, I'm done, I'm over it.
I don't know if I ever closed the door on anything, but it was just one of those things where it's like I regarded high school as pretty easy at the time, and so
Okay.
it was never something that was really too prescient. to
Okay.
work
Do you
on.
wear school apparel?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
have you ever worn your school a shirt for your school and looked at yourself in the mirror and just thought, what have I become? I mean,
Yeah.
based on your old self not having school spirit. you
Oh
know?
yeah, no, that existential crisis is like a weekly experience. I would say.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it trips you out sometimes?
Oh yeah, man.
Really?
Well, because teachers are just people. When you're younger, you regard the teachers as like really
Right.
different. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
these sort of staunch, stalwart individuals. But like, as an adult, it's just like you're just a person trying to get your day to day in
Right.
order. You know.
All right, give it to us straight.
Mm.
Do teachers look down upon substitute teachers?
Yes.
They do. You do.
Drastically.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, like, it's not that I look down on them, but
No.
it's one of those things where it's like, you know,
Do you think of them as not real teachers?
Yeah, it depends. Some of them used to be a lot of them
Yeah,
used to be teachers. But it's one of
okay.
those things where you kind of like, you allow a substitute teacher to come in. Like the expectation is that like nothing will ultimately get done.
Right.
It's really you should just provide like coloring sheets at best for the substitute
Right.
teacher and like lessons that will basically not result in the school being burned down. And anything beyond that is just
They're
Are
like,
there-
they're babysitters, they're glorified
they're
babysitters.
They're babysitters, and it's
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
not to say that the teachers weren't like good at some point in time.
Right, right.
Are
But, I
they-
mean, the expectation of a sub is not high. They should be.
Are there subs that are really good that you
Oh, yeah.
that you want
Oh
sometimes?
yeah. So like that's the thing. It's like there are some subs that are like outstanding, and they will come in and just like they'll crush the classroom.
Really?
Yeah,
like
it's
teach
great.
actual lessons
Yeah,
and
and
stuff?
you're just like, oh, you're better, much better at this than I am, man.
Oh,
But,
wow.
you know, but you choose
So
to
how do
do
they?
so.
How does this? I mean, I don't know if you know how to answer this, but how does a substitute teacher? Maybe this is a different episode, but how does a substitute teacher able to teach a class? You know, not having, not really knowing where they are. I mean, not having, just jumping in all of a sudden. You know?
Usually like blunt force, I would say. You come in and just like lay down the law. It seems like that's what most of them do.
Do you find that the students really don't respect the substitute teachers?
I think that they look for opportunities to like circumvent the sub.
Yeah, mess
You know,
with them. I
that's
get it.
what it is. It's just
Hey.
like it's just like you're constantly poking holes in the defenses.
Do you have a favorite student?
No, not really.
You don't have favorites.
I know, like everyone assumes that everyone's got a favorite student, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think some people have a lot of favoritism, but like I really do like all the students.
Right.
Like I really that's something to.
So how many periods do you teach? Do you have like 100 students right now or like 150?
You have,
I
like,
think
what,
I
5
have
periods?
Well, I teach. Yeah, I got 5 periods.
So yeah, it's like 150 kids.
yeah,
It's
something
30,
like that.
30,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's a lot of kids.
160.
Do you have a least favorite student?
Yeah, I got a least favorite student.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
Oh yeah, but
You-
I mean, like I still like that student. you know?
Right. And
Okay.
you want him to succeed, but
I want her to succeed.
Oh,
but
it's a
okay.
okay,
but
female
like,
student.
but you know, it is like.
Why is she? What is it about her that makes her?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like they complain a lot and they like make
do you
up
think
excuses.
do you think other
constantly.
teachers would call her their least favorite too, or just she just bad with English class?
I'm sure that other people would regard her as
Wow.
their least favorite.
Wow.
student. But
Really?
again,
So you guys talk about this is some of the stuff you guys talk about in the teachers' lounge when you are hanging out there.
yeah,
sometimes.
but there's always like the underlying assumption. It's just like, but you're still gonna try your best. with
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
You want her to
That's it.
succeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding? What's the one single most rewarding experience you had as a teacher?
It's like watching them graduate and walk away is real nice.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, like especially it's like when you work at like a high school and you watch them through
Yeah.
that.
Have you ever
Right.
cried because of an
No.
experience?
Well,
I mean, not cried as because of something sad, but because you were happy or proud.
Not
moved,
cried,
proud,
but
yeah.
like I've seen some African refugees come through and like graduate,
Wow.
and they basically spoke no English upon entry.
Wow.
And like they really worked, they worked their asses off for that, and that was
Wow.
really nice, especially because they have like these big families that are just like cheering like crazy for them.
You don't
That's
do you
cool.
you don't ever do English second language classes, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Should we? I kind of feel we can like kind of just keep going with
Whatever you want to do.
keep going with James here, or we had this idea we would have like a primary guest, and then if there were some people who showed up to check out the recording, that maybe we would do some rapid fire interviews with some of them. But unless there's anything else you want to cover with James, maybe we could do that.
I mean, I'm trying to think if I have any other questions. This has been very informative.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's one other question, real quick. What's the biggest? What's the dirtiest? Like when I say dirty, I don't mean what's the dirtiest secret about teaching high school, and junior high? Yeah.
Man, that's a good one.
But I
know.
don't mean dirty. I don't mean like sexual. But just what's the juiciest secret about it? What do we not? What are common folk not knowing about?
The dirtiest secret?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's pretty much on.
Is there
the
any
level, man.
is there ever any corruption in
like rampant corruption going on with test scores or something like that?
something like
Right.
that, or like about with money related stuff with the
It
school?
depends.
Budget
I mean, like,
stuff.
not as it pertains to like the public schools that I work in, but like, sometimes like a lot of the charter schools are not exactly on the level, I would say. And some of them are outstanding.
Does it ever seem like budgets are being used for the wrong things?
Oh, so I've seen charter schools where like attendance is not reported correctly and those sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
And, and that
They
that
get money
determines-
for higher attendance, right?
and you'll
Yeah.
see some things where it's like kids are getting dropped in, dropped off, shipped in, shipped out,
Right.
cut just in time for like tests, or brought in just for things like that.
How do you feel about standardized tests?
I dislike them immensely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think they don't represent the
Yeah,
true
they're
intelligence?
They're pretty terrible.
Do you make an effort to prep kids for the standardized tests, or do you just sort of not put a lot of importance on those tests?
I put importance on them because that's the job. In a lot of ways.
Because your school gets money based on those scores, right?
They do, but it's more like, this. You can make an argument that the tests are based off of like what you're supposed to be teaching them anyway. So it's like it should be some sort of litmus for them, right?
Right.
Especially like So basically there is some validation, but I mean ultimately like when it's just a test.
Are the English ones are like reading comprehension tests,
yeah,
right?
exactly. They're like the SAT.
Right.
Are do you like sports in general?
Yeah.
You did, and you did when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it wasn't a stretch for you to become interested in the sports of the school that you work at.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you work at a private school ever? I know you worked at charter, but would you work at like a kind of like a fancy private school, or is that not part of your
like,
mission?
I feel like the wealthier the kids, the more difficult the job becomes.
Really?
I kind of feel that.
So
way.
you feel like lower income kids were easier to deal with.
They're more grateful when you work with them. I'll say that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No doubt about it.
Interesting.
But you haven't really worked with private school kids before, right?
I've not worked with like upper class private school kids before.
But you're basing it off of like the wealthier kids in your classes are kind of a bit
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
Really?
Do they have just like a
They're
certain?
are they the ones who are more defiant?
They're a little more entitled. I'd
Entitled,
say.
yeah.
I think that'd probably be the right word for it.
Have you ever been? Okay, so no gang. Are there any gang members in your classes?
I mean, like I'm sure there are,
But
I mean,
none of them have
it's-
ever stared you down. Or
No,
anything?
it's never been a situation where it's like, well, not now anyway, but like previously definitely. The
Have you
case.
ever had a student? It doesn't matter if they're a gang member or not. They could be some, upper class entitled student. Have they ever just sat in class and just stared at you? Just like
lovingly across the room?
like lovingly as
Like
as
a
a sarcastic
knife me.
statement. But no, yeah, like they're just like looking at you like this. Their head is tilted down like this, and they're just looking at you like
Oh,
this.
like dogging you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hardcore dogging. Yeah.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like
never had
again,
that?
like I'm not really much of an authoritarian, so most of the time I can get around that sort of stuff.
Have you ever
pretty
made a
easily.
kid cry?
Yeah, I made a kid cry.
Okay, what happened there?
I've made fun of some kid, just sort of like passingly making fun of the kid.
Oh,
That
no.
sort of
Whoa,
stuff.
what
These
what
are-
was going on? What did you make fun of him about?
It was just like it was just like we were making fun of like the jobs that the kid like people would have and those sorts of things. Like kid was like, you know, like what is my job gonna be? And it's like doctor. What's your job? Lawyer. And I told I said you'll probably like. I think I told him he was gonna like scrape gum off the like chairs or something like that.
Oh no!
Just jokingly.
Yeah.
He didn't take it so well.
Wow. How old was he?
He was like he's pretty young. I guess he was probably
He's like one. He's like 6 years old. It's like elementary school. No,
yeah. He was at the park.
Do you happen to know what his job is now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Wait. So he cried.
I mean, like he didn't like bawl
But
uncontrollably.
a tear came
But
down.
he was sad.
He looked sad.
What did you say? Were you like, "Oh, I'm sorry"?
Just joking. Don't worry. Just joking.
Have you ever made somebody start bawling?
No, I've never made someone like bawl uncontrollably. Yeah.
Have you ever seen tears though from somebody?
I mean, like not from things I've said, but
Yeah.
like people will cry in class.
People
Have you ever-
fight. Kids fight with each other in
Kids
class
fight
a
with
lot.
Have you ever seen a kid get their test back, and they look at the score and then they start crying?
I've never seen them start crying uncontrollably, but you know they clearly look distraught sometimes when that happens.
Can you pinpoint the kids in your class who are nerds?
They stand out, right? Right.
Do you
Like,
are you welcoming to the nerds, or do you
Yeah.
think they're nerds?
Well, no, I'm welcoming to everybody. I mean, like, there's no
No,
litmus test. Well, you could take out like a D20 or something, and they'd probably be like, yeah, that kid's a nerd.
Do the nerds ever get annoying?
I mean, no more or less than anybody
Are
else.
there any overachievers that get annoying?
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, you know, a little bit.
They're just raising their hand every time?
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyone
you know.
sucking up to you?
Hmm?
Any kids suck up to you?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Has anyone
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
brought you an apple?
No one's ever brought me an apple.
Ever.
Like candy.
Any gifts at all?
I get candy.
But no apples?
No apples.
Not a single one.
I don't want an
That-
apple.
You don't? Okay.
I mean, I don't really want an apple. I mean, realistically speaking, I don't really need.
Do you
an
have a
apple.
fake apple in your class?
No. No.
Do you
Okay.
decorate your classroom with stuff?
I mean, like sort of.
You don't have a chalkboard, right? It's dry erase board.
No,
right?
it's dry erase board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
absolutely.
Do you miss the chalkboard?
No. I don't think I've actually ever been in a classroom with like a straight up chalkboard.
Mhm.
Do any kids read on Kindles?
No.
No?
No one reads on a Kindle.
Huh.
No. Kids don't even read.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Do you have kids who can't read?
Oh no, they can. I mean, like varying levels of read. I mean, some of them can read better than others. Some.
Do you
struggle
hate
to read.
like Cliff Notes and stuff?
Nah, that stuff's fine.
You don't care.
Really?
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, you live in a world now where the student can look up anything they want to at any point in time.
Right, right.
You make them read it, but ultimately, like, they should just figure out how to use the resources in addition to whatever you're asking them to do.
How has the
Right.
internet changed the way kids learn as opposed to when you were a kid or a student?
Information's instantaneous.
I mean, how does it affect teaching, do you think?
Well, the fact that they can look anything up means that like you don't teach them to memorize anything.
Right,
It's more
right.
just like how do you utilize what you've got in front of you.
So
that's how it's
I mean,
different,
this
I'd
doesn't
say.
really come into play, I guess, for your, I mean, kids don't even do they take tests in your class? Or are they just writing essays?
They do both.
Oh, you do have tests?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you allow internet access during tests?
No,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of stuff.
Have you ever had to take phones away from kids?
Yeah,
I'm sure all the time.
that's
right?
awful. Yeah.
Just till the end of the class or something.
Yeah, usually that's what happens.
Have you ever caught somebody using their phone and there was a picture on it that disturbed you?
I try not to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like just for your own like benefit. Just don't open.
Do
the
you have
thing.
any kids who don't have phones?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
And do they want phones and their parents won't get them, or they kind of rebel and they kind of don't want it?
No, they want them,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they just like can't afford
Are
'em
there
or
any
something like that.
really progressive students who don't want a cell phone? They don't like what it's doing to their generation. And
No.
No?
No,
You
there's
haven't come across
no,
that? Okay.
No, yeah.
Wow, not a single one, huh?
Not a
No.
single one.
They like the phones, man.
Yeah, I
like,
hear
They're
ya.
willing to give up a car. Like a lot of kids don't want to drive
What's
anymore.
the weirdest thing you've had to confiscate?
I don't know about anything weird that I've had to confiscate.
Okay, sorry.
Nothing too weird.
All
Yeah.
right.
Just like an Android phone or something?
Phones and just like hundreds
Okay.
of fidget spinners over the last 3 months, maybe.
Is there anyone who has to come and
Fidget spinners.
observe your class or evaluate your class?
Sure. Yeah.
How often does that happen?
A couple times a year.
Who does that? The principal?
Principal. Yeah.
Do you get nervous during that time?
Yeah, to a degree, I guess, but not really. I mean, as long as you're doing your job, it seems like it's a
Has anything ever embarrassing happened when there was someone watching?
Nothing terrible, no. And
Uh-huh.
students are usually pretty.
What's the most
pretty
embarrassing
receptive
thing that happened to you in a class when you were teaching?
Oh man, I don't know.
Have you ever accidentally farted?
No, I've never accidentally farted.
Have you ever purposely
I'm
farted?
very discreet. I'm very
You are,
discreet.
okay.
Yeah, very discreet with
Do you
the
hold
farts.
it in? Do you? Okay.
No, I
do
do not hold it in. But
you don't hold it in.
No, but there's like a way you can like move around in a chair.
Of course,
that allows
yeah.
you to do
So
that,
you
yeah.
are down to fart in class,
Yeah.
and but do it discreetly.
As long as it's discreet, yeah.
Has anyone ever caught you?
No, no one has ever caught me. Well, that's not true. You know, there has been a situation where like you fart in class, and then like someone will complain about the smell of the fart in class.
And it's you did it,
Well,
but
of course, it's like elevated theory.
and then what are you thinking when someone says, "Mr. James, it smells in here"?
People fart all the time in class, though. It's
So they
really
just
easy
think
to
it's-
pass it off on any other person in the room. Yeah.
Has anyone ever thrown a stink bomb down? Not a fart, one of those glass things.
No, someone brought a little cherry bomb to school once, but
Like a firework?
yeah, it's a little firework, and they
Huh.
tried to blow something up with it, but it was ineffective.
Right.
Like they just blew it up in the bathroom.
Is
And
there
then that was the
is
end
there
of it.
bullying in your school?
Yeah, there's bullying.
How
Yeah.
that's sad, huh?
It's unfortunate.
How do you deal with that?
You know, it's a tricky thing, right? Because like a teacher can sit in and like tell a student to like stop it, but like
Right.
it doesn't truly
That's not
stop it.
Right. That's not it's a larger
Yeah,
situation.
It's like it's a communal thing.
Right.
Can you tell who as you can tell who the nerds are in the class? Can you tell who the bullies are in the class?
Oh yeah, you can tell who a bully is in the class.
Uh-huh.
It's
What
pretty
about
obvious.
cyberbullying?
Cyberbullying, I mean, like, what control do you have over it? You know?
But is that something that's talked about?
I mean, like, we discuss it. People will like discuss bullying all the time, and like, we'll talk about interventions for it. But I mean, like, it's a tricky thing where what do you do? I mean, you
Right.
can like bring someone in, but I mean, they are doing that on their own time. and
Right.
that sort
Where's
of
the
stuff.
the border between
Yeah.
school?
Are
and-
there
yeah.
are there any bullies that are good students?
Sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's I mean, it's not like traditional bullying where it's like that kid's not beating someone up like in a park afterwards.
Are there any thuggish people any thuggish students who get straight A's or do really well?
Thuggish?
Yeah, some smart thugs, like some real smart. Are there any like smart ass thugs?
Sure,
thugs, you know?
sure. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like,
They get A's,
maybe not A's.
but B pluses.
They
though.
skate by. They
Huh.
skate by. They get a lot of B's. But it's like, it's one of the things where it's like, that's a naturally gifted kid. That's a smart
Right,
kid.
right.
They choose not to really engage.
Are you impressed by that when they're thuggish, but then they're smart? Are
I'm
you
a little
thinking-
impressed by it.
Are you
but
kind of
also-
scared by it?
You want to kind of like direct them to something that's not going to be terrible with their life.
Right. You're
Right.
A little, yeah.
Do you
it's
talk?
like,
You
see
try
that
to talk.
potential.
You try to do that, steer them in a different
Sure,
direction.
sure.
What do you say to them?
Well, you just say it's like, hey man, like these are your options. Look at these
Yeah,
options.
yeah,
something
yeah,
you can
yeah.
look at like when you go to college and those sorts. If you want to go to college.
And
can
do you
these
think
things.
that some of these kids actually listen to you and change their mind?
Yeah, I think that like in the back of their mind that they do, right? It's not like that they don't. It's just that like kind of the circumstances make it seem like it's unreasonable.
Right.
But it's not like they haven't thought about it. I think it just means that they have to like cut off a lot of their friends and family. which
Have
is
you
really
ever
tough.
have you known any of these students long enough to follow up and see where they've gone? Like thuggish.
Not
the thuggish bone, the thuggish workers bones. Have you ever seen where they've gone on to do, and if they've changed their path?
Well,
and
you know, man, like I said, like a lot of them I used to work with in like in the
Right.
in the old charter school.
Yeah.
So I don't know because
Yeah.
I mean I'm not Facebook friends with them or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Has
I
any
don't know
do
exactly.
students ever try to look you up online?
Again, I'm not using the right names.
Right.
So that's kind of hard.
I'm sorry.
I don't use my like real names.
Fake
like,
names.
on Facebook and everything.
Oh,
like that, so.
I'm sorry. You use a fake name on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
really?
You have to.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, I think as a teacher.
Well, I know some.
No, you don't
teachers.
have to, but I just mean it. I think otherwise you just get hit up by your students all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
so you've never been found. No one's ever found. You.
Some have tried, but you know, you just don't acknowledge it. Or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Are there circumstances that kids seem to be in, like socioeconomically or just their home life and stuff, that's just really difficult to see and like hard to know how to help?
There's some you know, like cultures of poverty and those sorts of
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like there is no real way out of it.
Right.
It seems like, and people are convinced that this is the only thing that they've got. Yeah, you see something.
Yeah. that's
Have you ever had a
sad.
student in your class who you thought this student should be in special ed? Why are they here?
Yeah. Sometimes they doesn't seem like they should be there.
And do you ever get them out of your class and get them in a special ed class?
I mean, like you have them investigated, but
Uh-huh.
usually by the time they're like juniors and seniors in high school and that sort of stuff, it's just like, you know.
What's an example of
No, a
like
kid
the
shows
way
up-
somebody was acting? And that
Oh, it's
you're-
like a kid shows up and they can't write, and when they
Right.
what I mean by that is like, you know, it's like they can't functionally create sentences or something.
Yeah, wow.
And, yeah, but you can tell it's not like, well, the kid's not dumb, but the kid can't like process that information.
Has a student ever had a style or just an outfit that just made you start laughing? You know, they walk into class and you just start cracking up, and you're just thinking, what are you wearing?
Yeah. I mean, like,
What was one of those?
I mean, I don't know how to describe them. I mean, whatever they wear these days, it's not, I mean, it's like maybe risque or something like that, but they're not like ridiculous. But again, you know, it's not worse than any other generational like faux pas.
So you've been teaching for 7 years,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Have you noticed any any long-term changes about, you know, either what kids are wearing or what they're into, or I don't know, what has changed in the last 7 years, I guess, about high school
What's
students?
changed in the
Besides the
last
internet, I
7
guess, is probably the
years?
most.
Well, I mean, like the internet was prevalent back then too.
But now
No,
with
but it's
social
even
media,
more
it's like
so,
even
yeah.
crazier,
yeah, you know,
right?
the phones.
The phones, yeah.
Because it's like, you know, back like 7 years ago, everyone had a phone, but it wasn't like the total reliance on it.
Right, now
And
it's
they're
like your
pervasive.
life
They're
is
pervasive,
in there, yeah.
Pervasive.
So anything besides that, or is that kind of just, that's the most noticeable?
Attention spans continue to decrease.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
And like on a side note, like just like the type of media that people consume is really different now. So like you'll get a lot of these people who are like movies, for example. Like no one understands what movies are.
No, kids aren't watching
People
movies.
don't watch movies unless
Wow.
they just like, you know, like bootleg them or something like that. real
Right.
quick. Everything's really disposable and quick. There's constantly just like something to look at. all
Are
the
they into like YouTube stars
yeah,
and
it's like
stuff
that
like
sort
that?
of stuff.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's kind of a weird thing because
Yeah.
I never really
Yeah, I
learned
hear
to
you.
appreciate it.
Huh.
Well, shoot, you know, I mean, I feel like at this point, like, I don't know if it really makes
Yeah.
sense to, you know, I don't know how psyched you guys were getting quizzed, you know, but, you know, I feel like, you know,
Yeah,
this was, you know, like I felt, you know, this
We've
was
learned a
going in a
lot.
direction, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, but, you know,
This has been really interesting.
yeah, you know, I mean, I hope you guys weren't like so psyched to do that, and then like let down right now, no? The what? Oh yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
No, but I mean, did you? Yeah, but I mean, I hope this was this was at least as exciting or whatever. Yeah. But why? Do you want to?
No, I don't care. I mean,
Because you know, we'd have like 10 minutes basically.
right. We did. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this has been really informative and interesting.
It's like this is a school night right now. I mean, don't you need to go
right,
to sleep?
James should go.
James need to go sleep soon,
you
right?
know, maybe, right? James on his phone right now, just like one of his kids.
Yeah.
Just like one of them students.
We're not the only ones with like shortened attention.
Yeah,
Exactly,
I get it. James
exactly.
is a product of the culture. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. What do you think? Should we?
or we could just wrap it up.
We
you
could
know?
just we could just wrap it up. Yeah. You have school tomorrow, right?
I got school tomorrow. Yeah,
What time
Wow.
do you usually go to sleep?
I go to sleep at like 10:30.
Okay. So
Okay,
it's
yeah. So this is kind
16.
of you kind of being a bad boy tonight a little bit, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
As far as bad boys.
But it is Friday tomorrow, though.
Yeah, that's true. Just gotta get through a little
maybe
bit.
go home, get drunk, play some WoW, World of Warcraft, wake up.
Yeah,
School's
that principal was me. Yeah.
That's so crazy. That's still so funny to me that the principal was like some loser basically.
He was an interesting guy, right?
Right.
Like I don't know. You know, everyone's got their vices, I guess. So
Do you
Yeah,
do you
but-
treat
No.
the female students differently than the male students, or what?
what do you mean? Like,
I don't know. It's just the way that you like. Are they different in high school? Are they different? Are they like different animals?
they're all animals.
Right, right.
I know. Are they different animals?
You treat them
You know what I
differently in
mean?
the sense that
like
like
I mean, is there a different approach to like dealing with male students as opposed to female students? Is there a gender difference really in dealing with students?
yeah, guys like to be treated a little bit lighter and a little bit with little distance. Like just let them operate. You
Is
know?
that like a macho thing?
Yeah, they just want their autonomy. you know?
Right,
They
right.
want to be their own guy.
And the women are dependent.
You can talk to them a little bit more, probably like directly. I would say,
Huh.
like a little more clearly. I think.
And more like a teacher kind of like.
Yeah,
Would you-
I
would
would
you
say
say
so. Yeah,
are-
guys don't like the teacher.
Right. They don't want to be told what to
Yeah,
do
not
or
at
something.
All, not at all. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the female students like to be told what to do.
Um,
I'm not.
no. Yeah.
I was like
No,
90% kidding, but I mean, 10%
like-
I was being serious. Actually.
they like. I think when I talk to female students, it's a lot more like, just as a teacher, it's more direct. I would
Right,
say.
right.
Yeah, and like guys, I kind of let them like find their way into.
Would you say that the female students are usually more mature than the male students? Or
Yeah, I
no?
would say so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, across the
Mhm.
board. Across the board.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I had another question with regards to that. Oh yeah, we slightly touched on this earlier, but are there any transgender students in your school?
There are.
So what's that like?
You just treat them as you would treat anybody else. I mean,
Have
like
you-
the bathroom thing, it's not like we separate them out or anything.
How
like that.
are they pretty well accepted in the school? I guess
Yeah.
my question. This is my question is at this point in time, is transgenderism pretty, kind of normal now at this point? Is it like pretty normalized? You know?
I mean, it's more normalized, I would say, at this point in time. Yeah, people are pretty accepting. I mean, like, I guess I've never really encountered any like real hate crimes or anything
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or anything like that. It seems like, yeah, like the younger
But
these
the
kids
students-
they're more accepting.
and the students are, referring to them by the, like the pronouns that they want to be referred to by and stuff like that. And
I
mean,
think
that's
I
all-
think as best as they can. I mean, they're not totally cognizant of it all the time. I would say.
But you don't see much like hate or whatever. It's
No,
more,
I haven't seen a
It's
lot.
more like some sloppiness in terms of just them not understanding quite what to
Yeah,
say.
I've never seen anybody
Right,
going
right.
out of their
Oh,
way.
that's
or
cool. I
anything
like that.
okay,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
it's not
That's cool.
transgender, but are there any just transvestites?
I don't know, man.
No. I mean, like, are there transvestites at the school? Are there any, say, like, for example, boys that dress as women, but they don't identify as women? Or as girls, they identify as boys dressed as girls.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Like,
you know?
it's more like a style. Or like, are there any goth
Nah,
kids in your
yeah,
class?
There's goth kids, yeah.
Yeah.
But transvestites, I don't know who's a transvestite.
Have you
who's
encountered
not.
any kids who like don't want to identify with any gender, who are like, oh, I'm non-binary? 'Cause that's a thing I've heard, but I'd imagine it's probably more something that adults.
Yeah, I know what that
come to.
is, but like I don't know any students.
never
who
encountered
are
that.
Okay,
there, yeah.
I'm sorry. I got this quick question here. There's different. You know how in high school there's different cliques, or there's different there's different scenes. You know what I mean? Kind of, or the different subcultures in high school. What are the subcultures of today? Are they the same classics that we grew up with in the '80s, or are they different? Are they different now? Are there new kind of cliques now? You know what I mean?
Like jocks, nerds,
Like jocks, goths,
cheerleaders.
whatever, stoners, all that, or is it still the same? you know?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
It's the
Same
same thing.
thing.
There's
Yeah.
not. Are there any new groups though now?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No,
like
no.
cyborgs.
I've never seen cyborgs.
Yeah, or like, just like anime.
Oh well, yeah. There's a lot of anime type stuff. Yeah, no cyborgs. I'm looking forward to cyborgs.
Yeah, that'll
That'd
be
good.
soon.
That'd be sick.
It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well, listen. Thank you so much for
Thank you, James.
being
man.
our guest here today and telling us about your experience with being an English teacher.
I appreciate
in
that.
high school and junior high.
Yeah, and
middle
thank you
school.
for opening up and answering some interesting questions. And
Yeah.
we really appreciate it. It was very informative.
And thank you to all of you for being here and being a part of this. Well, let's give James a hand. I
Yeah, round of
guess,
applause
if-
for James.
Our engineer is Aaron Bruntgart. Thank you to Andrew Michon for being here.
Thank you.
My name is Brent Weinbach. The name of the program is Pointed Questions. Thank you for listening.